After discovering that his wife was sneaking out to a grand mansion every night, a man helped her realize that their love can overcome any challenge they may face together. At a fundraiser hosted by mutual friends, Lily and John Harris locked eyes and knew they were meant to be together. They both longed for a large family to love and raise, and their instant connection made them believe they could achieve that dream together. John was chatting with his male friends about global affairs when he spotted her. Likewise, she had already noticed him and soon found herself face to face with John, who couldn't help but watch her shyly smile. "Hey, handsome," she blushed, but he had only gotten elated. "Hello, beautiful," he said. "I was wondering why the room was so hot, but now I know," he added, eliciting an even deeper blush. They spoke all through the event, and when it was time to part ways, they promised to stay in contact. A day later, John called her and scheduled a dinner date with her. The date had gone extremely well, and with time, they just kept gravitating towards each other. The courtship went on for a whole year, then the two tied the knot and moved into a small house they rented annually. As newlyweds, they were inseparable, and this was because they had a lot in common. They enjoyed talking for hours when they returned from work and looked forward to lovely evenings when they could relax or watch movies together after a tough time at work. John was a system analyst for a big firm, while Lily worked as an auditor at a medium-sized firm. They worked decent hours and had enough time to themselves. They would talk about everything in their lives so that the two knew exactly what was going on with the other, and everyone around them loved the bond. "It's been more than 2 months since you married, but you two look as loved up as ever," their neighbor, the nosy Mrs. Fryer, pointed out one day when they ran into her at the local store. "Sorry, Mrs. Fryer," John had replied, "but I didn't know we were supposed to lose this glow after only a few weeks." "Well, that's all great, but now we need to see results from all that rolling around I'm sure is going on every day," Mrs. Fryer shot back, not one to miss having the last word. John laughed her statement off, but it stuck with Lily, and 5 months later, she started making some shady moves. Tight as they were, it didn't take John long to realize that she wasn't the same. She spoke less to him, and they began to drift apart. "Hey baby, want to go catch a movie this weekend? I hear there are good ones airing," he had asked one Friday evening when she returned from work, but she said, "I can't this time, darling. I have some things to attend to with work and all that. You know, audit periods always come with a lot of paperwork, and I've been missing out on them these days." John had started to say, but she cut him off. "I understand we've not had time to catch a break lately, but I promise you, darling, I'll make it up to you." The next day, John, who usually turned into bed very early so he could wake up to beat traffic, woke in the middle of the night and found the space where Lily should have been empty. The first thing he did was reach out a hand to feel the spot. It was cold, meaning she'd been out of bed for some time. Perhaps she was in the bathroom. "Honey?" he called out, but no one answered. Perplexed, he took a quick tour of the house, and sure enough, his wife was nowhere to be found. Her car was no longer in the driveway, which meant she went out. That day, John felt more worried than suspicious, but that was not enough to stop him from drifting off on the waves of sleep. When he opened his eyes, his wife was back home like nothing had happened, and having decided he had to confirm what was keeping her up at night, he made plans to follow her next time. His chance came 2 days later when she snuck out of bed again, thinking he was still asleep. She took her car and drove away quickly to a location several streets over.
Also, if you've not done so already, please subscribe to our channel and click that notification bell to get inspired by these animal stories every day. Now, back to the story.
John decided to pretend he was sleeping, but after she took off, he got up and speedily threw on some clothes before following her in his own vehicle. It was hellish because he had to drive without headlights so she wouldn't get spooked that she was being tailed. It was, after all, 2 a.m., and their residential area was silent as a grave. She led him to a huge mansion, and he saw her enter it. "So she's found a richer man," he fumed as he watched his wife enter the building. It was easy for him to jump to conclusions. He returned to their home and had enough time to stew over things before Lily returned. Eventually, he decided to return to bed and confront her the following day. As early as 6 in the morning, he was up, but rather than prepare for work, he tapped Lily, who had been lightly snoring beside him. "Whoa, what?" she had asked sleepily. "Where have you been sneaking off to, Lily?" he asked her. That cleared all traces of sleep from her eyes, and she immediately sat up in bed, visibly shaken. Did you think I would not know? He asked. Who is he? John, she gasped. There's nothing like that. I can explain. Of course you can. Let's hear it then. Why have you been sneaking off to a mansion in the dead of the night? Shaken by her secret getting out, Lily had no choice but to come clean. I'm sorry, John. It's true I've been sneaking out, but it's not to meet a man, she said. Of course, I imagine that's what any accomplished cheat would say, John replied, still skeptical. Fine, I'll prove it to you. Get in the car, Lily said matter-of-factly. They drove to the house but were silent in the car as they both dealt with their thoughts. John was forced to wonder what the house could mean if his accusations were off, while Lily worked up the courage to tell him something. He's not going to want anything to do with you after this, a dry voice whispered in her head. Enough, she silenced it. Nothing would discourage her. She had no more choice. When they arrived at the house, Lily took him inside, and they went upstairs to a children's nursery. John was still trying to make sense of it all when Lily revealed the big news. John, a few days ago, I got a diagnosis from Dr. Keller, and it revealed that I'm barren and can't have kids even through IVF, she said. She also added that the house was an inheritance from her late parents who passed away in a car crash. She had made secret renovations ever since their wedding, and among the things she added was the nursery. I did all these only to find out that I can't even have babies, and I've been really sad about it, she said. Lily told him she had hoped he would hear the words "I'm pregnant" from her while they lived in the house, but it was not to be. This should have been where we would raise our big family, John. We both wanted that, but because of who I am, we can't have that, she sobbed. It made her very sad, and she couldn't help but cry as she confessed everything to her husband, who stood stunned. He had been missing too much because he had been more focused on what he felt. He rushed to hold her, and he reassured her right then and there nothing could stop him from loving her. We could have weathered this together, my love. You didn't have to do this alone, he told her as she sobbed into his chest. It's okay, my amour. There's more than one way to have a child, and fortunately, we can afford them all, he said as he held her tighter. Tears continued to flow down her face as she heard his reassuring words, realizing that her fear of being rejected by him due to her infertility had been unfounded. John professed his love for her, promising that they could start a family together through adoption. After some time, they were blessed with the adoption of twins, a boy and a girl. Exactly 1 year after their wedding, they joyfully named the twins Benny and Bethel, embracing their newfound roles as parents with open hearts. At first, they planned to adopt only one child, but after discovering that the child had a twin, they couldn't bear to separate them. The couple raised the twins in their grand mansion and found great joy in the experience of becoming parents. They were natural at it, having always longed for a family of their own. Even as they raised the twins, they never gave up on trying to conceive, and eventually, they received a miracle. Lily became pregnant with their own child and had a safe and healthy pregnancy. She gave birth to a baby boy named Samuel, a testament to their gratitude for God's blessings.